I am back with my 76 Lotus Elite. I'm going through, I say little things that I still are finding. These I believe are the trunnions are really sloppy underneath. And so I've set this up that'll give you a good idea. If you see the movement that's happening, all of that is in the trunnion. So I have new trunnions to put on, but all that movement there in the bottom is the trunnion. It's not up in the bushing, up at the chassis. It is all in the trunnion. So take off the brakes, take off the disc, and then I can disconnect the trunnion from the lower arm, suspension arm, unwind it, re-grease a new one, put it in with a new seal, and reverse the process, put it all back together, and that should take care of a vibration issue. And both sides have to be done. As other sides, actually worse. It is much worse than this. So once again, still working on the trunnion on the right front of the car. So far, no issues with doing the trunnion itself. But I did find something else I did not like at all. Let's see if I can put some more light on it here. In the steering rack, if you will notice, there's a lot of play in the rack. The bushing in the very end of the tube is gone. I don't know what happened. Did it disintegrate? Did it fall apart? I have no idea, but there should be a bushing there in the end of that tube. So I'm going to have to do a little research, see if I can come up with a bushing. If not, well, if I have to, I'll make one on the lathe and put it in there. So if I have to do it that way, I'll do it that way, making one. So there's a lot of what the nylon or plastic, whatever it was that was up there, the bush is just coming out in pieces. The only way to do this, to make it work, was to get it, pull the rack out. Although I'd like to be able to get it all the way to the bench, but there is a brake line that prevents me from getting it the rest of the way out. So, but I have pretty good access right here. Everything's on the downhill side, so I can get the chunks out, rebuild it, and then slide it back up in it. Yeah, the U-joints are no fun to on the steering column. But I have done it before. So this is the only way I've found so far to do this, is to pull it out and then clean it up. So I'll continue to clean. This is a spare steering rack I have for the Elite. I wanted to point it out on this. It's easier to show this on the bench than it is to show you on the car because I was cleaning that up. This is where the bushing goes, is in here. If you see these kind of sections here, this is, I guess, nylon that's stuck on the shaft, and that was the same way, same places. There were 3 of them on the shaft on the car, and that all has to get cleaned up before you put it all back together. It's easier to show you here than on the car. I cleaned up all of the old debris, from in the tube there. I've cleaned up, I'm going to get a Q-tip up in there and try to get a little bit more. Yeah, maybe. I think I could. Cleaned the shaft up of the little residue that I showed already, and I'll get the bushings installed and then try to get this back together and in the car. The new bushing has been pushed in, and let's see, this is one of the locking buttons, and then there's another locking button on the other side. First one goes in easy, second one you got to tap in very gently, and I used a drift in the hole to make sure everything lined up before I put them in. So I'm going to grease the shaft up some more, and then I'll put the boot on and secure everything and start getting this back together. All the Elite rotors need turning, so I brought them up to give them a quick turn. First is a couple of fast cuts in order to even everything out, and then I'll make a good slow cut to finish everything. Front wheels are ready to go back on the Elite. This all started to do trunnions. Trunnions have been replaced. I took the rotors, they've been turned, and I freshened the surfaces of the pads up. They're in good shape, but just need a little scuff on some sandpaper just to help. Steering rack was almost removed, but removed enough to do the bushing at this end. Getting it back in was, of course, fun. I had one of the spacers drop, and I didn't realize it, so I had to go back when things weren't lining up. But that is my helpful bit of news. Check the spacers when you go to put them back on. Make sure they're both there. All right, so put the wheels on, and we'll see how it goes.